shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Having already put you under oath, we had agreed that we're going to start with the Governor of Nairobi. And Your Excellency, in a letter that was written to you, I don't want to read all of it, but in particular, you had asked to address several issues, and part of it is it says Article 95(2) of the Constitution of Kenya mandate the National Assembly to deliberate on to resolve issues concerning the people. And on Wednesday, 26 February, during an afternoon session, the National Assembly deliberated on an ongoing dispute between the Kenya Power and Lighting Company, KPLC, and the Nairobi City Council, on alleged unpaid electricity bills by the county government to the KPLC arising from the debate. The House expressed its displeasure on the reported dumping of garbage by the county government at Steamer Plaza, a premises occupied by the KPLC. According to the House, the action by the Nairobi County government to dump the garbage at Steamer Plaza constitute a potential violation of Article 42 of the Constitution on the Protection of Environment and the Provision of Environmental Management and Coordination Act, Cap 385 Act, and Sustainable Waste Management Act, Cap 387C, and the Penal Code 63 on the protection of environment and handling and disposal of waste, and many other more. In the light of the above, the committee expect you to respond to the following queries at the meeting. 1, the specific action taken by the Nairobi City County government, rather the Nairobi County, to hold the officers responsible for the dumping incident to account to it. The other issue, the immediate measures taken by the Nairobi County, in this case the governor, to address any public health risk associated with the incident. Number 3, the measures taken in collaboration or coordination with other agencies such as the NEMA, who are represented here, and the public health officials to effectively address the issue. Number 4, the measures that the Nairobi County has put in place to ensure safety of residents affected by the dumping of garbage and sewage around the Steamer Plaza. You know, of course, the Steamer Plaza has got the neighborhood. So it's not just the workers of the KPLC. The measures the Nairobi County government has put in place to ensure such occurrence does not happen in future again. And lastly, the manner in which the Nairobi County shall ensure transparency in its action and decision relating to the incident and its reporting of outcome. And lastly, any other information pertinent to the matter under consideration that you may need could be of importance to share to these members by Extension Parliament and the Kenyan public who are following this proceeding. And we allocated you 40 minutes. I think you can able to probably say what you have, and if need be, we can consider if there is any need for extension. Thank you. And I will ask members kindly, minimal intervention, so that we can able to, if you have some queries, something you need to ask, we can do at the end, and less point of others.
Thank you very much, Chairman, and the members of the committee. Chairman, I was telling the IG that I've spent 10 years here, and that's why I feel very much at home in Parliament. And really acknowledge, the National Assembly is a house of representation And so, without even going deep into Article 95, the fact that we are here is where the nation assembles. And so on any matter, we must be able to, speak to the people. And that is why we're cooperating as we are, because I acknowledge and I'm a big champion for the place of oversight and the place of representation of the people. And I'm very happy. I'm honestly happy to have the opportunity to explain the context of what happened. And to give the context of the relations between the Nairobi County government and other agencies. There is a long history between us. Chairman, I will give that brief context, and then as I answer the specific questions that were asked, thank you for allocating sufficient time for that. And I'm grateful, and I don't take for granted that members are here in good numbers. Indeed, this is an issue that I think captured the attention of the whole country. It's a very unfortunate situation that has us here. When I look to my left, I see the leaders of our security agencies who really should be protecting Kenyans elsewhere, right now. And we have many challenges. And so allow me to, at the outset, even before getting into the details, the dumping incident at Kenya Power headquarters was completely uncouth. It was wrong. It was something not sanctioned, Chairman. It is something that the government does not do. It was completely off. I will explain the context within which what found our people there, but the dumping of garbage was very primitive. And I lead a big institution. I have almost 20,000 staff. But the ultimate responsibility, the buck stops with me as a governor. And so on behalf of the staff, I apologize to the people of Kenya, to the people of Nairobi, to the residents and tenants and business people there. That should never have happened, and it will never happen under my watch. I will not allow that to happen again. Chairman, in as much as we have issues with Kenya Power, they have claims against us, we have a bigger claim against them. Putting the public, to whom we owe a duty of care, in the crosshairs is wrong. It is unjustifiable. And so on behalf of the team, or the individuals, and I will explain the action that I've taken since, we have said we are sorry about that. It cannot happen under my watch. It cannot. And I will never allow that again. That is not what you do in the 21st century in the capital city of Kenya. This is a global hub. This is a diplomatic hub. This is a city that many across the continent look up to. And they want to be like Nairobi. I sit in many forums. I'm the vice chair of C40 Cities, which is a climate action cities. I deputize the mayor of London. All these other mayors talk about how they want, they look up to Nairobi. And so let it be on record, because this is a house of record, that action of dumping is something I condemn myself. And that is why when it happened, immediately, in less than an hour, actually less than 30 minutes, what was dumped was cleared. Immediately, we said you cannot have that. It is wrong. It is wrong. We have so far interdicted officers. The documents are here within your package. I've interdicted 2 officers from the revenue department. It was actually a revenue operation, and I'll explain what was going on. Investigations are ongoing. We have an investigation department within the county, and we're also working with the police to make sure. In fact, we agreed to have a liaison. Nairobi is so important that working with the national government, especially when it comes to security, is critical. And so rest assured that it doesn't end there. We'll get to the complete, not just the root cause, but the solution. And people will pay for it, for the actions that they took. The history of this relationship, first of all, Nairobi and Kenya Power are almost brother and sister. In fact, Nairobi County government is the one that started Kenya Power in the early 1900s. We used to have this Nairobi City Power Syndicate. There was Mayor Udall, who said that there's a need for a power source for Nairobi. And at that time in 1928, we set up Ruiru Dam to start providing power to the city. In fact, if you look at it critically, Nairobi County has shares in Kenya Power as a founding institution. We started it. Then Mombasa Power was started and later created East Africa Power Company. We've had a few run-ins, and the documents between you have the correspondence between us and Kenya Power. The law, and I'm very grateful to Parliament, you passed a very strong legislation which was assented to by the President in December of 2024, the National Rating Act. The Constitution in Chapter 12 talks about different revenue-raising roles between the national government and the county government. Part of what the county governments, because we need to raise the revenue to sort out, our hospitals, to build roads, to feed our children. In Nairobi, we are feeding 316,000 of them every day at 5 shillings. To take care of the environment. If you look outside Parliament, Bunge Square, the work that I did here, people want to see it everywhere, And so because of that, we're given the power to raise revenue, and especially through property taxes. If you go to Physical Land Use Planning Act, PLUPA, it talks about development control. Development control includes way-leaves, the third schedule of PLUPA, way-leaves, and it goes to the extent allow me just to read the specific provision. If you go to the third schedule of the Physical Land Use Planning Act, it talks about consideration for easements and way-leaves as a function of the counties. The following services that require easement and way-leaves: 1, telecommunications; 2, electrical power supply; 3, water and sewage works; 4, oil pipeline; 5, fiber optic; 4, base transmission stations, and any other service as may require easement and or way-leave. There is a requirement in the law that any such installation on public land that belongs to the county must have both county approval and a payment to the county. So we have said in our calculations that Kenya Power owes the county government of Nairobi 4.9 billion shillings. Yeah? From our calculation, 4.9 billion shillings. And they have claimed from us now 1.5 billion shillings. In 2017, Kenya Power went to court to challenge the requirement of them to pay way-leaves from county governments to county governments. They had a case which I have also mentioned in this package of documents. If you look at Annex number 14, Kenya Power Lighting versus the county government of Nairobi. And the order by Justice Mativo, actually the case was thrown out, meaning that the status quo remained. They sought leave, and I think that time maybe Honorable Aduma was in the county government. They sought leave for stay to appeal because they felt they shouldn't pay county governments. That leave was sought. They never filed the appeal. That is Annex number 15. Meaning the status quo is that county governments must be paid for provision of this service. Now, the Energy Act of 2019, when I was here in Parliament actually, brought in a provision that says that for you to put any charge or levy on public energy infrastructure, you need consent of the Cabinet Secretary. I think that was to forestall piling up of that debt. That notwithstanding, the amounts owed before, because the law does not act retroactively. The law doesn't act retroactively. So the debts that are there before are still owed to county government. So what we did when I got into office, Chairman, is that I approached Kenya Power because a lot of the bills are historic. They're bills from City Council, they're bills from the first county government, the second county government, but government exists in perpetuity. I cannot say that those are other people's bills I will not pay. We started with Kenya Power, and I said, let us do a verification of what you're claiming from Nairobi. We did a joint verification exercise, Chairman, for a number of months. If you look at Annex number 11, because they were claiming 3 billion from the county government. And I said, it can't be 3 billion. What are we selling? After that verification, the bill went to half, to 1.5. The document is in section at Annex 11. It is signed by both Kenya Power and Nairobi County Government. What we found was that there were some meters that Nairobi had been paying for that are not in Nairobi County. There are meters in Turkana. There are accounts in Kisii County, accounts in Kiambu County that the county was being charged. There were some businesses, butchery here, whatnot. So once those were cleared, the bill came down to 1.5 billion. And so that is what, on record, at that stage of verification, was owed by Nairobi County Government to Kenya Power Limited. And I said, pragmatically, okay, we have this debt, we will have a payment plan. In fact, Chair, I hope I have attached. Subsequent to that, and if it's not here, I can provide it. We have then found that during the NMS time, 700 million shillings was paid again to Kenya Power, reducing it from 1.5 to around 800. 700 million shillings. I'll provide that document before midday, Chair, if you indulge me. And even as that verification goes on, it is okay. Yes, I owe you. I'll be paying 60 million shillings of the old debt and the current bill. That's what we agreed. Now, we said, what about your debt to us? What you owe us? The National Rating Act provides in section 19, and before that even 18, that a proper demand notice be sent. In December, I personally went to Kenya Power, and I told the MD and the team there, you know, we are both government. I feel you owe me more than I owe you. You can't just come and switch off lights. Because what we pay for as the Nairobi County Government, and I'm glad I have the security agencies here, the bulk of the debt is not City Hall. City Hall has no debt. It's not our hospitals. They have almost zero debt. It is street lights. If you switch off street lights in Nairobi County, it's a security concern. And it's rightfully before this committee. We pay for all of the street lights in the city. Yes, we've been discussing with the ministry how to even look at the tariff, reduce it, because it's a national security issue of having lighting in the county. But I told him, it is not proper for you to, once a payment is missed by a week, you immediately come to switch off. I think members, as Parliament, exchequer delays. Counties got January money just on Friday. It happens. It happens. But institutions should understand each other. And so we agreed. But we sent a demand notice for the 4.9 billion shillings. The demand notice is here. If you look at the correspondence that has been there, look at Annex 7, outstanding way-leave charges since 2002 from Kenya Power, signed by the County Secretary. 2017, zero response. 2019, to Engineer Jared Othieno, then MD Kenya Power, about outstanding annual way-leaves, 70 million, zero response. If you look at 19th March 2020, same issue, Kenya Power, zero response. But when you miss one payment, you're completely cut off. If you look at Annex 14, 16, if you have it in your bundle, it's a statement from Mombasa County. Same issue. Hospitals switched off, Coast General Hospital, and the governor talks about it, how those powers undermine devolution. Number two, if you look at the statement by the Council of Governors, the Council of Governors issued a statement last week, and they raised cases in Migori, in Homa Bay, Kisumu District Hospital 2014, power disconnected, putting lives at risk. 2019, the county offices. Kilifi Civil Registration Office 2023, that serves 300 people daily. Mombasa General Hospital, and then so on and so forth. And so I said, look, as government, we can even offset the debt. You know, yako ni kubwa kuliko yangu, toa kata ile pesa na kudai, ile unandai. We agree. Sorry, Chair, I know in Parliament, once you start in one language, you finish. Forgive me for that. Now, after sending that demand to the Kenya Power, of course, ignored like these other letters. What do you do as a county government? You use the powers that are there within the law for you to enforce. The National Rating Act, in Section 19, gives the county a couple of remedies. Gives the county a couple of remedies. And it says, where any person fails to pay any rates of interest due from them, as provided for under Section 16 of this Act, and whatever is in development control under PLUPA, having been properly served with demand defaults in paying the rates, the county government may, 1, levy a penalty at the prevailing central bank rate. 2, deny certain county services, which is what the county did. We denied them water and sanitation services, which we provide. 3, institute a suit against the defaulter. 4, create a charge against the rateable property by notifying the registrar in charge of land. People ask, Stima Plaza is not owned by KPLC, but the rateable owner in this law is the person who pays rates. The rates for that building are paid for by Kenya Power and Lighting Company. Now, those are the ones we have. We went for. So please, I need to be clear. We did not go to Kenya Power because of retaliation or because of our bills. It was not about electricity. It was about way-leaves and land rates. Having served a demand notice, which is in this document, dated December 6th. The other thing, it says that you can actually appoint a receiver on the rateable property to recover rent from tenants and occupiers. So if you have an apartment building and you have not been paying rates, the county government can take it over and actually collect rent from the residents. It's something that we have actually done before in many places, and we should have noticed that the time is coming for people to, because everybody must pay their fair share for us to have a clean city, for us to have a city of order, for us to have a city where we can provide services to our people. Everybody must pay their fair share. We have 256,063 parcels of land in this county, but only 50,000 people, 50,000 accounts are paying. They're carrying the burden for everybody else. And more still, if it is other agencies of government that do not even consider that they should pay anything. And we want the member of public to pay, but our institutions are not paying. So what happened then on Friday is that, 1, we clamped down the building, Kenya Power. We denied them the county services after having issued that demand notice. For them now to come and say this will be our payment plan for what we owe you, or even to say on record, we don't believe we owe you, and we take it to court. On Monday, the unthinkable happened, which I again reiterate is crude. That an officer, one officer, you can have 20,000 officers, but one just decides to tip. They tipped the garbage. It was completely disappointing. You don't do that to your people. And that is why I immediately told them to restore the area. What has happened since is that we have met with the ministry together with the head of public service. We agreed after the meeting, because you couldn't just restore. Once you've issued a demand enforcement notice, you can't just withdraw it without a resolution or a way forward towards settling what the issue was. And that was a meeting that was held at the Office of the President, led by Felix Koske and Kenya Power and Opio and I. We agreed. We said yes, based on this, because we've agreed with the Cabinet Secretary that the commercial issues of debts between us shall be solved between the CS of Energy and the Governor of Nairobi. We have a meeting on Wednesday to look into it. We restored the state of things at KPLC headquarters. We did a cleanup exercise. We did a fumigation. We have, with our public health teams, Of course, we work very well with NEMA on many things. And we're discussing things to do ahead moving forward. We work very closely with them and these other agencies. We've restored, in fact, we said we shall even beautify additionally. And I personally, will also engage with everybody around that place because they're our people. But there's one thing that I need you to understand. Counties are not being greedy when asking for payment, especially on commercial services. We can say, okay, from Energy Act 2019, energy infrastructure, maybe we can discuss, let's not charge. But tell me, Chairman, I'm sure when you live here, I will give you a chance to just look on the road. You will see a blue cable, a yellow cable, a red one, cutting across for, internet service providers. These internet service providers used to pay counties for WILIFs. But what happened is that this entity, now for the commercial aspect, tells them, instead of paying the counties, come on our posts. And when you're on our posts, you not pay us. So these ISPs were asking, Governor, we thought that Kenya Power pays you for what we pay them, because they pay them commercially. I told them, no, they don't pay a shilling. Because actually what we need to do, and we've agreed, and they're very open to it, is have a common service duct. A common service duct, where whether you're Jamii Telcom, or Fiber, or Safaricom, or Zuko, or whoever it is, you can't put your cable. It is within, it is concealed, it is neat, it is not what we've been seeing. That has led to even cutting down of trees. Every day, trees are being cut down because of those cables, which is commercial. It is an example I'll give you for clarity. Every vehicle that goes on the expressway has to pay, isn't it? They pay. So this is one guy with a large truck that carries other vehicles saying, instead of all of you paying, enter my truck. So this truck has carried another 20 vehicles, and he's the only one who's paying. Now, in this case, they're not even paying. These service providers, we are supporting the digital superhighway. This capital must actually look neat, and that's something that we will continue pursuing. That let's have a common service duct. Because today I do a road, one person comes, digs it up to put their cable or to put the infrastructure. They restore it halfway. Tomorrow somebody else comes, digs up, saying, oh, I want to pass this electricity, I want to pass this cable. That is not orderly. And that is not what Plupa provides for us. So question number one that was asked was the specific actions. I have responded to that. I've said that the decision to block the entrance and to cease provision of county services was a county government decision pursuant to the provisions of the law. The incident where the truck tip was not sanctioned, that one I completely apologize. I cannot say it enough. It was wrong, primitive, completely not sanctioned. 2 senior officers have been interdicted as investigations continue. Number 2,
you can expound on that. Which officers were these which were interdicted?
So the interdiction.
And of course, what are their mandate?
Okay. Yeah. The interdiction letters are in the bundle. They are annexed. There are 2 officers. Is it 13?
13 and 12.
Yes.
You can see.
Thank you, Chair. The first officer is Dr. John Doity. He's the Acting Director of Revenue Administration. Yeah? And it says preliminary investigations indicate that he directed the dumping of garbage outside Stima Plaza along Kolobot Road within Parklands. In view of the foregoing, you are hereby interdicted from exercising the duties of your office with effect from the date of this letter, pending finalization of this investigation. By a copy of this letter, the Director of Investigation and Information Analysis is required to expeditiously complete investigation into this case. That the director was there. It was a revenue operation. The second person is Sankale Lempaka, who is a Director Debt Collection Unit. Yeah, Debt Collection Unit. What we call the DCU. In the letter says debt management, but it's not the debt collection unit. And the ones who do that operation. So they have been interdicted. Because, there are drivers and whatnot, but those people, they follow instructions, and they're innocent. The person who can give such an instruction poor garbage to the people. I think that is where we're taking our administrative action. Because look at who you have here today. You're the Inspector General of the whole country. The DIG, 2 DIGs, DCI. Because one person said poor garbage. It's completely wrong. You know, it's not right. So I've taken that action, Chairman. The immediate measures taken by the county government to address the public health risks is immediately, first of all, there are measures taken to remove the dumped garbage. That what was thrown on the ground was removed within an hour maximum. I think it was less. Immediately. We didn't let it sit there. We didn't let it stay. And then our public health department, first of all, after agreement, because you know this thing had become so emotive that even you know, you had the staff, including my own friends, like Ernest Dadome, the Secretary General of the Labor Union there. Jay, I'm sure you remember, I've been a leader of Labor Committee in this house for 10 years, and I also lead Labor at COG. And my friend, and he said, they're coming to even cut off my house, you know. And so because of that tension, we have to show a sign of unity between myself and the leadership of Kenya Power.
Governor, I don't want to disrupt you. Yeah. I had earlier given a ruling that interventions are going to be minimal.
Yes, sir.
But if you talk about the garbage was removed immediately, you actually indicated less than 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Then what occasioned the KPLC to go now to court to look intervention of court to enforce you to
see
why
they went to court, Chair, they first went to seek stay orders for us to restore services to them. The stay orders were declined. They wanted conservatory orders. They were declined because, and people must understand, Kenya Power can switch you off when you don't pay your bill. You can't go to court and say you need your power restored. You can go, but it's difficult to win that case. And the judge said, look, that is a commercial dispute about the issue of cutting off services. Of course, the Environment and Land Court, in the following day, before Justice Omolo, said actually there should be, because then Environment and Land Court, you know, said if there is any filth there, because 2 of the trucks had not left, please restore it, and we were happy to comply. But there were no orders as to, you know, the cutting off of the service, the water and the sanitation, was pursuant to a law that allows us to enforce on somebody who owes us. And that wasn't true, don't Chair. I hope I have answered. Now, so our public health department that has...
You are sure the West was, the cleanup took place immediately, within 30 minutes? That is how many days after?
Like 3 days after.
2 days, okay.
Yeah.
Just go.
Yeah, that one was, you know, Chairman, I'm fully aware that I'm on oath. And so I give the whole honest truth. And where we're wrong, I admit, Chair, where we're wrong. Yeah. So our public health department, we had fumigators. I have photos here. If you look at the first annex and the second annex. And Chair, you know, I've been leading cleanups every Sunday evening. We have Green Army of 3,500 young people. And the CBD has been getting that cleanup etc. So this cleanup, the last one we've done, we sent teams also to Electricity House here within Harambee Avenue. And we sent, I think, 100 or 200 of the young people who went to Steamer Plaza fumigators. The measures taken in collaboration or coordination with other agencies such as NEMA and public health officials, considering that Nairobi City County Government has primary responsibility on health and environment as per the Constitution, we've effectively addressed the issue, but we work closely with NEMA. They had also issued restoration orders, which, you know, of course, we respect. We respect NEMA. We work with them in many aspects. In fact, my CEC, my Chief Executive Officer, County Executive Committee member in charge of Green Nairobi, is actually a NEMA employee, you know, seconded to the county. So we are one. We are working now on extended producer responsibility on the issue of dumping, material recovery facilities across the county, together with NEMA. The measures that Nairobi City County Government has put in place to ensure safety of residents affected by dumping of garbage and sewage. And Chair, for clarity, no sewage was dumped. No. No sewage was released. That now just, it would be any, I have no words. None of that happened. In fact, what happened, Chair, was at Electricity House, when the service was cut off. Normally when that service is cut off, you don't use those facilities. And you have to come and agree on how it's restored. But it's almost like an order was given for them to flush the system from inside. And so that is why you saw something on the road. It was not dumping, that as if you'd send an exhauster to go and pour sewage. That is quite, that never happened. It didn't happen at all. And
we
so
don't want to go there because KPLC is not here to prove that part. Whether it's true, it's them who.
Yeah, but it came from me. And actually, when that happened, Chair, I immediately instructed Nairobi Water Company to just restore, because then I knew the next day we were having the meeting with the minister out of goodwill. I said, even before the resolution of this, just restore, just reconnect. And that reconnection was done on Thursday evening before our meeting the following day. The measures that we put in place to ensure that such occurrence does not happen. The resultant agreement of the meeting held on the 25th of February and chaired by the Chief of Staff and Head of Public Service. I have put the photos of the meeting next to myself and the Cabinet Secretary of Energy, and also we have the Intergovernmental Relations Technical Committee represented there. Because ideally this dispute should be sorted at that stage. But when one entity is ignoring the other one, how do you sort it out? Yeah? We agreed to deal with the commercial issues and discuss the way live and land rates question. In fact, I was very happy, Chairman, at that meeting, the Head of Public Service was so kind to say, actually, give us all the bills that national government institutions owe you for water. And we gave him a list totaling 1 billion owed to Nairobi Water. Nairobi Water is a company fully owned by the county government of Nairobi. So it's owed to Nairobi. So we sent him a list that broke down which ministry, which department. I don't think I need to go through the list because we've agreed we'll find a way to settle. We're all government, so we agree. And that list is available if you require it, Chairman.
Kanja doesn't owe you much.
He does. The police also has quite a bit. But we support each other. If you look at the police stations, even we are building some together with them. In Dandora, in Mihango, we're doing something together with the low courts. Part of what we're doing for housing in Madare, and I think the president, is actually police land, what we call depot. So we work together. We understand institutions sometimes, Public schools owe us 168 million. What do? You cut off children from what? 168 million, from public schools. Water service providers, our neighbors here, owe us 450 million, Kiambu. The WSPs. It also, you can't deny, because the water that we bring, Nairobi has 4 sources, Chair, to fill the capacity of 7 million residents. But still, we can't bring water and ignore Viru, and ignore EPZ, and ignore Kajiado County. So we have to rationalize, and we will not cut them off, because they're also people of Kenya who deserve those services. So the resultant agreement, national government and its agencies and companies, which it holds shares, are to meet its financial obligations by settling debts owed to Nairobi County, including wage leave, contribution in lieu of rates. Chairman, you're asking about Kanja, but you should also ask about Parliament. there's a debt, of Silo. Yeah, and let me not go into it, because I think our institutions can deal with it. We can deal with it. I've been in communication with the clerk of the Senate, who's the secretary to the Parliamentary Service Commission, because there's much more we can do, as your host county, just like we showed during the Bunge Tower and the square where we've transformed. The other information pertinent to this matter, I think, are just the laws that I've set out. Section 186 of the Constitution sets out respective functions and powers. The County Government Act, various laws such as Physical Land Use Planning Act. PLUPA is such a powerful law that is needed for, just the orderly and, development control of our country, to see what is the Nairobi we want, what is the capital that we want. And I must say at this meeting that the national government has been extremely a strong partner to Nairobi County government, more than ever before. We've sat with the president. He's helped us sort out an issue that, just allow me to explain, the water issue. The water issue, all of you are residents of Nairobi. Nairobi's first source of water was 1906, Kikuyu Springs, that gave us 6,000 cubic meters of water. Later, as I explained, Mayor Udall in 1928 set up what we call Ruiru Dam. Ruiru Dam was to do energy plus also water. In 1956, then the biggest source was created, called Sasumwa. Sasumwa Dam is in Nyandarua County. It's 60 million liters of water every day. Then finally, in 1994 to 1997, we developed Ndakaine Dam that gives us 84%. Now imagine Ndakaine was done with the idea of the population of 2 million Nairobians. Yet we now have 7 million Nairobians during the day, 5 million at night. There are those who now travel to the satellite cities. The president of Kenya, His Excellency William Ruto, because I told him, boss, this is unsustainable. He helped us unlock the biggest water project since, the Northern Collector Tunnel. The Northern Collector Tunnel, because when you add up all of those, it gives you 525.6 million liters daily. Yet Nairobi needs 870 million liters daily. Look at that gap. From 525.6 million liters per day to 870 million liters per day. Northern Collector, which is completed. He helped us get compensation for whale leaves. We've now connected Kigoro and Gigiri Reservoir. We now have an extra 140 million liters coming every day to the city. And that's why when you say, please pay your water bill, it's to help us develop the infrastructure, because there is still a gap. There is still a gap that needs to be met. I am fortunate that I've been able to secure support for $100 million to do Northern Collector 2 and Maragua 4, that will add 220 million liters. But we need support. When the Nairobi water people come and say, please pay us our bills, when the county says pay us our bills, it's for us to now be able to serve the city through and through. So I must say that the national government and Nairobi County government have had a very, very good working relationship. We're now working on roads and the critical infrastructure together. Even this issue, which should not have gotten to this level, you will never see it again. On Wednesday, you will see me with Waziri Wandai. You will see us with the president on Friday, launching a serious climate works program, employing 20,000 young people to restore our rivers in the city. A huge event, 20,000 of them already there. My Green Army of 3,500, my CHPs of 8,000, all of us will be there. So let it not be felt out there that there is a fight between the county government of Nairobi and the national government. There is no fight. This was something that just went overboard. It has been resolved. We're taking internal measures, and we are happy to keep sending, periodic reports to show where we are. Chairman, I think I can leave it at that with your permission. Thank you for your time. Members, thank you for your patience and for listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. You really kept your time. Actually, you have done exactly almost 40 minutes. It shows that how you're good in managing time. So I think from this end, maybe just one thing before I give the IG. You had mentioned about there is ongoing cleaning up and fumigation of the area. You said so, isn't it? Ever since then, have you sent the public health officers or department,
yes, sir,
to inspect the health safety of the place so far?
Yes, we sent the public health officers on Friday. On Saturday they went there. The chief officer, Tom Nyakaba, led a team of the doctors and the public health officials. Even as the fumigation was going on, they were inspecting. And I want to reach out. I thought after the meeting with the Waziri, and I spoke to him this morning, if they can allow entrance into the facility for a more thorough check. But everything outside the parking, even the vehicles, even the bushes, anything in that vicinity has completely been fumigated, Chair.
What about NEMA? Did they probably paid a visit to the place?
Yes, Chairman. We did visit on the day of the incident, and we issued, as the governor said, an order for them to undertake cleanup and also ensure that the trucks are removed. because it's really against the provisions of both our Constitution and also the Environmental Management and Coordination Act.
Chair, could I just ask a question? Would it be in order to put the Director General of NEMA under oath, because we also have questions for him, or that's not important?
I don't know whether it was an omission, but we actually didn't invite him, but having him around will be more valuable. But I don't think we should not divert much, because we stick to...
Chair was invited to this committee.
Sorry. Yeah, okay. But I think the main guys here is IG and the county.
The reason why I'm asking is because we also have questions for him, given his mandate.
I think just maybe to clarify, if we may later maybe think we may have a session with him, nothing hold us back from doing the same. But largely today, let's have the two departments or the two teams. But I just wanted your confirmation that it's true what the governor is saying in regards to the State Department, I mean the NEMA.
Yes, Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think quickly, we are going to have the IG take the stand. And
sorry, Chair, do we have, I think, separate the two and have questions for the governor, then the IG later?
Go as what we did agree earlier when we started. Let's have both teams, because it may help you understand even more when come to interrogation. Yeah, I think that is even the feeling of the majority. So quickly, Mr. Kanja, the IG of quickly, you have also your letter, which was addressed to you, and I want really to commend the governor for sticking to his allocated time. That was extremely good. The IG, you are equally appearing before this committee for the matters of getting information in regards to what exactly happened. And then in a letter addressed to you, the committee, on behalf of Parliament, and definitely the people of Kenya whom we represent, wanted you to respond to the following: whether the National Police Service was notified of the incident that occurred at the Steamer Plaza and the specific action taken to investigate the dumping of the garbage and the sewage. Of course, the governor said there was no sewage. You can as well confirm that. I don't know whether later maybe we need to have the NEMA confirm whether to us whether it was garbage or sewage, because the governor said it was not sewage, including the current status of the investigation, the specific enforcement action being contemplated against individual found responsible for the dumping. I want to emphasize that one: specific action to prevail against the persons found to have been responsible for the dumping. The measures and the long-term strategies the National Police Service is considering to ensure the similar occurrence does not happen in future with respect to the government property and installation, and any other information pertinent to the matter under consideration. In summary, is ever since this happened, what did the National Police Service did under your command, considering that this was in total breach of several acts and laws of the country, to include investigation, action taken to this end, and whether anybody has been prosecuted, arrested, or charged. So back to you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, honorable members. Let me start by stating that what happened on that day is barbaric. It's unacceptable. It is criminal, to say the least. And that should never ever happen again in our country. Never. Honorable Chair, this happened while I was in Nigeria on an official assignment. And immediately when I got that information, I did direct the Director Criminal Investigations to immediately commence investigations on that matter as a matter of urgency. And that happened. So by the time I returned here, a lot had actually taken place after those instructions were given. Honorable Chair and honorable members, today, this Monday, if it were not for this matter, myself and the DCI, we were supposed to head to Samburu County to oversee matters affecting security in that county. Mr. Masegeri, the DIG responsible for the Administration Police Service, was supposed to go with the Commandant GSU, visit the counties of Isiolo and Marsabit, where we have an ongoing operation, a very, very critical operation, that is assisting us a lot in terms of pushing away the Oromo Liberation Army remnants who have been in those areas for some time, and they have been involved in a lot of criminal activities, including the contrabands, including trafficking in human trafficking. They have been involved in narcotic drugs in that area. They have actually been involved in illicit arms and ammunition. So that's the reason why we have mounted a very specialized operation in that area. And that is what I wanted Mr. Masegeri, together with Commandant GSU, to go and review the progress that we have done. But because of the happenings, here we are today. Honorable Chair and honorable members, I will give an overview of those issues. And then for question number 1 and question number 2, the DCI will be able now to come in and answer on them. Then I will be able to pick on question number 3 and question number 4. And among stars here, the two DIGs can also come in if there is a matter that they can be able to come into. So in response to the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security to appraise the committee regarding police action on the recent illegal dumping of garbage at Steamer Plaza, an overview of the incident. The National Police Service indeed received information on February 24th, 2025 at approximately 0800 hours. Nairobi County enforcement officers, drivers...
Just clarify that one, which date or which time?
0800 hours. That's in the morning, on 24th.
24th is Tuesday or Wednesday?
That one was...
Just on 24th, eh?
On 24th February.
Okay.
The Nairobi County enforcement officers, drivers, the revenue clerks, and other staff, without any justifiable cause, dumped garbage at the gate of Steamer Plaza, which hosts KPLC offices and other commercial tenants, cramped several Kenya Power and Lighting Company motor vehicles, and blocked the entry and the exit points using 5 Nairobi County government garbage collection lorries. And as a result, the KPLC customers were unable to access services at the company's headquarters in Igara. During the incident, 2 KPLC staff members, Barbara Wachira and David Mauti Kiarago, were arrested by the Nairobi County enforcement officers and later released without being preferred for any charge under the Nairobi County bylaws. Additionally, it was reported by David Mauti Kiarago that he was robbed of 3,000 Kenya shillings at a Psycho 5 wristwatch, valued at 15,000 shillings. The incident occurred, as I have said earlier, while I was out of the country, but I was able to give instructions. I immediately directed the Director of Criminal Investigation, the DCI, to promptly initiate investigations with the objective of prosecuting any individual found culpable of any offenses related to the matter. I therefore wish to submit the following responses to the questions raised by the committee. Honorable Chair, honorable members, as I have indicated there earlier, for question number 1 and question number 2, I would wish to call upon now the DCI to come in and deal with them, if it is acceptable, Chair.
Thank you very much, Chair. As indicated by my Inspector General, I will confine myself to question number 1 and question number 2, Honorable Chair. As regards to question number 1, it is true that the incident was officially reported at Parklands Police Station by 3 KPLC officials, namely Honorable Chair, Anthony Jaka Muganda, Ms. Barbara Wachika Wachira, and Mr. David Mauti Kiriago. We were able to reduce their complaints into writing under 4 separate police entries, Honorable Chair, 3 of which were documented on 24th of February 2025, while the 4th entry was recorded on 25th of February 2025. The first one was OB number 37 of 24 February 2025, and the nature of the complaint was robbery with violence. The complainant being Barbara Wachira, who reported, Honorable Chair, that at the time of the incident, her iPhone 12 mobile phone was stolen, and she was also forced to pay shillings 2,000 for its return. The second OB entry was OB 54 of 24/2 of 29. The nature of the complaint again being robbery with violence, and one David Mauti Kariago was a complainant, where he reported to the police that he was robbed shillings 3,000, a Psycho 5 wristwatch that was valued at 15,000, and an executive pen valued at shillings 500. OB number 70 of 24/2/2025. This was a general report of the incident at KPLC headquarters, including the police responses. OB number 20 of 25/2/2025. The nature of the complaint was illegal dumping of garbage, unauthorized towing of vehicles, and obstruction of entry and exit points at KPLC offices. So what were the specific enforcement actions being considered against the individuals found responsible for the illegal dumping, Honorable Chair? We conducted investigations, Honorable Chair, and on February 25th, 2025, we were able to arrest the following persons. One, Augustine Otieno Osore, who was a driver. Moses Gitari Kanywa, who was a driver. And Alice Okare Achami, the machine driver. I would like to point out, Honorable Chair, that by the time this matter was being raised on the floor of the House.
So just for clarity, the 3 are employees of the county government.
Correct, Your Honor.
And the
Chairman.
people who are involved?
Correct.
Okay.
And I was saying by the time this matter was being raised at the floor of the House, these 3 Nairobi Council employees were already in custody. Generally, the offenses we are looking at, Honorable Chair, was sabotage, robbery with violence, illegal waste disposal, and obstruction, contrary to Section 53 of the Traffic Act, amongst others. This particular case file, Honorable Chair, was forwarded to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution on February 27, 2025 for perusal. And in the meanwhile, we released the suspects on police bond to be appearing as we wait for final directions from the ODPP. Honorable Chair, the 3 officials were low-level junior officers, and we still believe that they must have received orders from somebody in the hierarchy of the council. As a result, Honorable Chair, we summoned the following and recorded their statements, and we are treating them as key suspects in this matter. One being William Kangogo, who is the head of enforcement; Eva Wariuki, she is the Chief Officer, Security and Compliance; James Sankale Lempaka, he is the head of Debt Collection Unit, and the governor has confirmed that he is under interdiction. We have Dr. John Ntoiti, he is the Director, Revenue Collection. Again, the governor has confirmed his interdiction. Steve Ogeza, Director Parking, we believe he is the person who led the team that clamped the motor vehicles and also towed several other motor vehicles. And we also had an opportunity to interrogate one Frederick Omolo, who is the in charge Istarehe Rural Enforcement Officer. We shall, Honorable Chair, expand the scope of our investigations, and we are hoping to interrogate by today Geoffrey Musiera, who is the Chief Officer Environment; John Malawi, the Director Environment; Tyrus Njoroge, the Chief Officer Revenue Administration; Charles Kerich, CEC Finance and Economic Planning; Maureen Njori, CAC Environment; and Nahashon Muguna, the CEO, Nairobi Water and Sewerage. Honorable Chair, from our perspective of the National Police Service, and like my IG has said, this was indeed a very, very unfortunate incident that actually soiled the image of the Nairobi County government and our country by extension. It disrupted services at the KPLC offices, and it also exposed the population to a serious public health and environmental hazard. We are convinced that a serious crime was committed, and the perpetrators must be held accountable for their illegal actions. I submit, Honorable Chair, and invite my IG to continue with the rest of the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, Honorable members. I also want to appreciate the DCI for that elaboration of what we as the National Police Service have so far done. But what is clear is that we are on that trajectory of very serious investigations, because serious crimes have actually been committed to Nairobi people and by extension to the people of Kenya. including serious damage to our image as a country and as a people. So that is the reason why I want to urge the DCI to continue and move with speed and get everybody involved in that, so that at the end of the day they can have their day in the court to be dealt with as guided by the laws of the land. So going now to question number 3, are the measures and the long-term strategies being implemented to prevent similar occurrences in the future with respect to government property and installations? Honorable Chair, honorable members, to prevent similar occurrences in the future, the following measures have been considered by the National Police Service. Number 1, interagency collaboration. The National Police Service can only recommend that the government agencies with outstanding matters involving other government entities to consider alternative conflict resolution mechanisms that prioritize amicable solutions to prevent unnecessary service disruptions and avoid causing inconveniences to the public. That's number 1. Number 2, confidential reporting. The police service operates a dedicated toll-free hotline feature kwa DCI, whose numbers is appearing on a letter as 0800-722-203. It's a confidential reporting. Anybody can be able to report to the DCI, enabling the public to anonymously report incidents for prompt investigations and actions. And number 3, Honorable Chair, I also want to confirm that we have a fully-fledged police unit by the name SIPU, Critical Infrastructure Police Unit, that takes care of all government buildings and other infrastructures that, which are of critical importance. And going to question number 4, any other information pertinent to the matters under consideration, the National Police Service remains committed to upholding the rule of law and safeguarding government property and vital installations from unlawful intrusions likely to sabotage delivery of essential services to the members of the public. Thank you, Honorable Chair, honorable members, for the continued support. Asante sana. Thank you.
Thank you so much, IG and the Governor and the DCI. Sorry. I think to this juncture, do you have any officer among your team that you think you can get anything to add from the 2 gentlemen, the DIGs, KPS, AP? Okay, nothing. The Governor seems to...
Chair,
plenary now.
Yeah, I have from the Council of Governors, Mr. Nick, who possibly has a wider context. Maybe he can just add 1 or 2 things.
We can give 2 minutes.
Yeah.
2 minutes sufficient for you?
Thank you, Honorable Chair and members. My name is Nicodemus Bwika from the Council of Governors Energy Committee, and we work closely with the county governments. So this matter was also brought to the attention of the Council, and when His Excellency the Governor was making his presentation, he referenced a statement that was issued by the chairperson of the Council of Governors. Perhaps what I can add into is with regards to several statutes that His Excellency the Governor has mentioned in his presentation. Part of the issues that are coming up is lack of clear collaboration between the two levels of government, because it's not just the matter of Nairobi alone. It has come up in several other counties. And especially within the context of development planning, the country has very robust statutes and laws that guide how developments should be undertaken. The biggest challenge we have faced is that there is little compliance with those statutes that have been enacted in this country. So you find most of the infrastructure projects being implemented in counties are not subjected to development permission and approvals at the county government. And this brings a lot of conflict, because after installation has been done, you realize that perhaps some of the projects that are being done are outside the plans. And I can give just one example. When you look at the costs counties are incurring in relocating services, especially the poles that are erected by KPLC, it's a big cost that counties are incurring. If these installations are done in consultation with the plans, then we are not able to incur these particular costs that we're incurring. The second big issue is with regards to the contribution in lieu of rates. I think this is a big matter beyond even Nairobi County, where you find that post the 2010 Constitution, many national agencies have not been able to pay for these contribution in lieu of rates. And this is critical revenue that county governments require so that they can be able to provide services, because these services are also enjoyed by the public entities that are within those particular counties. So that is what I can add, Honorable Chair.
Thank you so much. It's not a bad idea. Of course, I know our mandate is more on the issue of the security into this, because some issues goes beyond even to the mandate of IBEC and the rest. But because this is a report that is going to get its way into Parliament, I think it's not a bad idea also to get the picture. But before I give to the plenary, I just want two things. One, from the DCI, you had actually listed several people under investigation or who had been had their statement, right statements, but they are not provided in the report. So maybe you can furnish us with a written document giving their names and their position and the level of investigation or interrogation. Also, from the governor, attached in your file, there is a letter said to be from the Senate, press or a statement, something from the Senate. It's not, it has got no letterhead, not signed. There is kind of a press statement dated 27th. Media people kindly keep audio. There's a letter, Governor, in your file, indicated as press statement. You members, I want to refer you to in the governor's folder. Annex 4, Annex 5. Annex 5. There is like something like press statement dated 27th, Senator Statement of Kenya Power and Lighting Company.
Yes, Chair, this statement was a press conference issued by a number of senators, I think 6 or 7 of them, in Parliament. And so they didn't sign it. They just issued it. It's just a matter of record. But what they asked for, they were talking about the monopolistic influence of Kenya Power intimidating counties. They spoke about the Mombasa, Kisumu, Homa Bay, Migori, this connection to critical facilities. But the action they asked for in this statement was they asked for the House to summon the energy leadership to provide an account of the issue of essential services. So, Chair, this I just put it here for information, but it's on record. The media got the statement. It was on TV. It is online. Unless you wanted me to look for the senators to sign.
Yeah, I think our secretariat can.
They can get it.
Still just get it.
It was done in this Parliament. Bunge.
No.
Yeah, media office.
I know at times people can issue press statement without necessarily signing. I just get to, and we can confirm
that exactly the
But
issue.
the one by the Council of Governors was signed. What we have here is the excerpt, but we can put the whole statement, because the statement spoke to other issues that were not relevant to this discussion.
I'm aware about the one with the Council of Governors.
Yes, sir.
This is the one I was not aware of. So then I think from this end, members is about 21st midday, and we're going to probably try to have 30 minutes of plenary. And I want to guide us this. We definitely are aware of our scope and our mandate. That, of course, this matter was referred to you because largely of security issues. If in any way you need to divert, should not be much, so that we stick a bit to our mandate, because other issues of commercial disputes and the rest may have been placed elsewhere, largely. So from this end, I'm going to have a plenary, and we'll ask whoever the question directed to, you can note down, so that we can have maybe another 15 or 20 minutes from your end. And we're going to start from the Vice Chair here, then in that order, Kawinya, then Senior Counsel Kaluma, a lady, at least a lady. First round, then I'm not saying a lady, then Rosa. Then everybody will get up an opportunity, but we go in that order, the first bunch, then we take the next. But kindly, let's try to stick to the point so that we can accommodate everyone. So maybe 2 minutes maximum each.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Governor, you hold Nairobi in trust for all of us in this room and also beyond. I think the matter before us is Article 95, Sub-Article 2, matters of concern to the people. What we have witnessed is really hubris, and also it demonstrated a clear violation of law and order. People taking law into their own hands. I am happy that you have apologized, and in the fullness of time, I hope Kenyans will forgive you. From where the chairman is stopped, the Council of Governors issued a presser on this, and also senators. And also in Annex 16, the governor of Mombasa also wrote a letter supporting your position. If indeed you apologized and you believe this is wrong, would you like to expunge this apparently appearing to support what has happened? Because I believe two wrongs don't make a right. The second issue, Mr. Chairman, Mr. John Intoiti and Mr. James Lempaka were interdicted. Have these individuals recorded statements with the police through the DCI? If they have not, then why have they been interdicted? Honorable Chair, my third issue is the government does not operate on cash, whether it is at the county level or even at the national level. And that is why we incur debts. Those are some of the reasons why we experience what you call pending bills. In this particular case, indeed you try to elaborate a sort of on and off discussion with KPLC. Before this particular incident, how much discussion have you carried out with KPLC so that such an unprecedented action should never have taken place? And finally, in your submission, you said that the place was cleaned up. Who was going to pay for that cleanup? Because indeed there were individuals who were acting outside the law, but at the same time, the county government of Nairobi ended up in picking up the bill. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Awinya, then Kaluma in that order, and lastly Buirosa. Then we take the next round.
Thank you, Chair. Chair,
And if you can, to make it easier, if you have a question for the IG or DIG or the governor, you specifically direct to, you mentioned that you are directing to a particular officer.
Yes. So my first question is to the governor, Chair, and it relates to the action taken on 2 officers already mentioned. The 2 officers, are these the only officers action has been taken against? Because from the letters, it would appear like these were the officers who gave direction, but there were also officers who acted on the ground. Has any action been taken against them? And my second question to the IG, you indicated that immediately you were out of the country when you got the report. Could you be able to tell this committee when this report was received, how soon the officers acted? Because definitely the time of action would have ensured perhaps some of the culprits would have been arrested. And I think to the DCI, whether the officers who did the act are among the ones who are under investigation, the ones who did the crime, who committed the crime. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I have 2 clarifications to seek with the National Police Service, especially the DCI. Number 1, by what time do you see the investigations into the matter coming to an end? Because there is demand for quick action. Number 2, the governor has mentioned that the switching off of lights could be a major security issue in Nairobi. And I cannot agree more. And yet we are in a situation where KPLC also enjoys monopoly. And by the way, the manner in which they enforce payment sometimes could be more crude than even what we are talking about. What do you propose to this committee that Parliament should do by way of addressing this monopoly and payment enforcement by KPLC? Because I believe, Chair, at an opportune time, I think we should have also KPLC here. There could be something in their approaches which could have provoked, this crude, obviously crude and primitive action from the county. But what would you propose if we were to go that direction? Either in terms of law, in terms of conduct and behavior, in terms of enforcement payment, Parliament should be thinking about in terms of resolving this matter. Chair, I have only 2 or 3 clarifications with the governor. Number 1, the governor indicates that there are payments demanded of them as the county government by KPLC relating to meters which are outside of the province of Nairobi County government. We need more detail if they are in your possession on this, because it may speak to corruption. Yes, so we need those details so that we are able to rationalize this matter of indebtedness. And Governor, I heard you to say you made demands to the Nairobi County government, to the Kenya Power Lighting Company for payment for various services you offer before you acted. But seeing through what happened and with my legal knowledge, I wanted to know, by way of more background, what could have provoked this thing. Did I hear you to say KPLC had disconnected you, or what? Because, Chair, it has been reported before. Instances where KPLC is even switching off hostels. And you can imagine if that were to happen where, for instance, we had newborn babies in incubators. It's instant death. So what could have provoked this action? Did KPLC switch the county government off? And if so, what facilities were switched off? We want to be clear on that. And then just your thoughts also on this issue of monopoly and the manner in which it is done. But would you, in the end, assure us that in terms of the commercial disputes that appear to be the genesis of this matter, you are in good stead with the relevant departments of government to resolve them so that we don't have disputes between governments? Thank you, Chair.
Lastly, Buirosa, in 2 minutes.
Chair, thank you. Chair, even as we sit here, I know that each and every Kenyan who's a consumer of KPLC has had issues with KPLC. So we are not here to say that KPLC is clean. But I'm happy to also note that the governor regrets what happened and has profusely apologized to Kenyans. And in that apology, the governor keeps on saying, it cannot happen under my watch. It cannot happen under my watch, but we know that it happened. Does this therefore imply that there are moments when the governor loses that watch? And if so, how then can Kenyans have a guarantee, Kenyans and the people of Nairobi, that this unfortunate incident will not happen again? Number two, if I look at the letters of interdiction, the action that's been taken by the governor or the county government, those letters are dated 27th February. 27th February happened to have been Thursday when the National Assembly debated elaborately on this issue, on this unfortunate issue. Could this action by the governor have been as a result of what happened in the National Assembly on Thursday? Because why 4 days after the act? We also know that the Nairobi County Secretary, Mr. Akumali, was quoted to have said, "We will remove garbage once KPLC pays us what they owe us." We would like to know, is the governor seized of that? Pardon?
Referring to statement?
Nairobi County Secretary, Mr. Godfrey Akumali.
County Secretary.
Yes. I'd like to know if the governor is seized of that utterance, and is he one of the officers also under investigation? And Honorable Chair, I'd said that I have a question for NEMA, and I don't know if you'd allow me to ask them. We know that NEMA is actually mandated to oversee, to supervise, and to coordinate all activities related to environment on behalf of the government. If this occurrence took place on the 24th, what did NEMA, headed by the Director General who's present here today, do to ensure that the health hazard that the people around Stima Plaza were exposed to was put to an end. It's not just important to come to a meeting after the fact. We'd like to know, what did he, as the Director General of NEMA, do to ensure that everything, or the health hazard that the people were exposed to, was brought to an end? I thank you, Chair.
So you can respond to the 4 questions, of course, by whoever the question referred to.
Thank you very much, Chair. And thank you, members, for these questions. Colonel Dido Ali Raso, the Vice Chair, asked 4 questions. The first question is that if we apologize, and it's completely unrequited, it's unconditional. You know, some people say, I'm sorry if. I have not said that. I said very clearly, for the dumping. Nairobi County does not waive its claims of what it is owed, because that money is not owed to me. It is owed to the people of Nairobi to deliver services. And so our claim is still there. The efforts that we've put together with the minister to look at that wayleave issue, and even the commercial thing there, you know, I mean, they declared profit. But the commercial aspect of carrying fiber, charging private companies to pay them, yet they don't pay us. That claim is still there. But that claim as well is to other agencies within government. You know, I had given you just the numbers of water bills. Yeah, water bills. The police, and I'm glad the accounting officer of the police is here. They have a water bill of 106 million. Yeah. That can do a lot for us. But you don't see us cutting off their water. But when a critical facility like a hospital has a bill of 10 million, there's life support machines, you cut it off. You know, is there equity there? You know, it is completely not right, because there are people whose lives depend on it. And I think that list has been issued. You know, when it comes to SILO, which is contribution in lieu of rates that you have raised, the police, again, 880 million shillings, close to $1 billion. But you don't see us taking that kind of action. And so we isolate the incident of dumping. That one is, I don't think, deserves even more than 10 minutes of discussion. That is what was completely wrong, completely off, should not be allowed. Yeah? But the issue of monies owed to each other to continue serving the public. I'm glad you're the committee that prepares. The reason I mentioned the police debt is not because they're here, it's because you're the committee that appropriates on their behalf. There's some ministries that have sorted out their debts. You know, if you go outside here, you'll find National Treasury has cordoned off some parking slots. They pay for them. National Treasury pays their, you know, rates. But different ministries, you know, are not appropriating, budgeting for it in Parliament. So I would urge you to support counties and support devolution by making sure that in the budget, and we can be able to share with Parliament all the claims we have towards different ministries. This is a discussion I've had from the first year, even with the budget chair, Mheshimiwa Ndini Nyoro, and told him, you know, just put that money in the, we don't have, you know, you can pay slowly, pay in installments, but you can't want Kenyans to pay taxes, yet you don't pay what you owe to counties. So I hope that clarifies. Our claims have not been waived, and the list is very long. You know, I can share with you later. This is just for rates. You know, Commissioner of Prisons, and the list is there. You know, JC Department, Traffic Headquarters, the highest being Isili Police Station, which owes us $1 billion. You know, $1 billion. Because, you know, if you look at what we call the,
and verified.
It's verified, you know, because what we have is
one polling station.
Yes, rates.
Accrued
plus interest accrued over years, over very many years. You see, what happens is that you have a valuation rule. Nairobi is the only county that has a 2019 origin valuation rule. Most counties, their valuation rule is in the 80s. Once we updated our valuation rule, we're able to, you know, look at all these LR numbers. So the value of land there is different from maybe Buruburu Police Station, you know, or GSU headquarters. And I can give the entire breakdown. Muthaiga police station, for instance, that's just 166,000 that is accrued, meaning there's payments that we've been able to receive before. But Gigiri is huge, it's 684 million, all to the county. So, I mean, you know, look at it from a balance of things. Of course, I will not pour garbage at the police. and you know, one thing that the IG has forgotten to say is how closely we work together on many, many things. On many, many things. The thing with security, and you know it better than I, is that when you succeed, there's no report. You know, you don't talk about foiled security threats in the city. You don't talk about what has not. When you succeed, there's no story. The story is there when the opposite happens. Now, the interdicted officers, and I can combine this one with Mheshimiwa. Anyway, let me just answer this and I'll answer Rosa Buy's later. You've asked whether the interdicted officers, the two of them, are under investigation. We had with Kenya, KPLC, we've had long discussions. I have taken myself physically to the offices, you know. I've explained, we're also offering a public service. You know, it is not my personal property that you're switching off. We're offering public services. In fact, I asked them one day when they switched off power at City Hall. Like when you switch off power, even if you want us to pay you, how will you pay you? And the computer that needs to make the payment is off. So how do we pay you? I have heard the police saying that they will make sure that critical services are not interrupted. I hope that applies to City Hall also. City Hall offers critical services to the public, to Kenyans. That also should not be interrupted. I run 125 hospitals in this county. 125. The biggest hospitals. In fact, we run the biggest health service in the country because the national government runs 4 hospitals. Kenyatta, spinal injury, Madare Mento, Eldoret. But if you look at Mama Lucy alone, Pumwani has the most deliveries in East Africa as one hospital. If you go to Bagathi, we put up a brand new NICU, neonatal. Children born before preterm, before term, are put there. You switch it off for 1 hour, we lose lives, you know. And so I've gone to explain that we're in public service. I think it's because Kenya Power is such a commercial entity. Profit. Let's think of the public and the service that we're giving. And that's what I told them. I told them, please. Pain is. So, Mheshimiwa Kaluma, you know what was the trigger? It wasn't really C40 cities. I'm the vice chair of climate action. Nairobi, about reduced emissions and climate change, and the background is a diesel generator humming. Tit for tat is an unfair game. An eye for an eye, we all lose our sight, you know. We respect each other's institutions. Our letters, you know, the Demand Act talks about 60 days before enforcement. The 6th letter, 6th December, because of that, because they keep cutting it, you know, they keep cutting it. We've never responded to our electricity being cut. We'd have responded a long time ago. We are just implementing the enforcement options available within the law, which includes clamping down the building. You know, I'm told people have been arrested for clamping cars. That is the work of this of the county government. We clamp cars. Even now, clamp because they're supposed to pay, and we give them. You don't pay anything in cash. *647#. 100% convenience. So if we made it so convenient, why would people not pay? Who are cutting trees? The laws for you, even my own residence, if I want to cut a tree, I must apply to the county. It must be stopped. So I hope, and I'm very happy today, I'm really surrounded by the powers in security. But counties are a soft target to be bullied. Counties are a soft target. When they do something wrong, Bwana IG, also deal with them in the same law. One state, but there are 48 governments. There's a national government and 47 county governments. So you know, to heshima. The issue of cleanup, who paid for it, Mheshimiwa Russell? Unfortunately, you know, there was a bit more focus in that area, but it's a continuous thing that we always do. Nairobi County cleans. We employed 3,500 Green Army. We have bought equipment. We have bought trucks. I just launched in January 25 refuse compactors. We are now getting into a waste to energy engagement. In fact, the only thing left is the power purchase agreement. And you know, that's an example of how we are working with EPRA and the Ministry of Energy, because they're the one power purchase agreement that will give me another 200 trucks, because this city must be clean. So cleaning, because it was not any private person, it's somebody already on a salary who ordinarily would be cleaning elsewhere. It is equipment that already belongs to the county government. We just focus it there. Mheshimiwa Kaunya, thank you so much. Just about the two officers interdicted.
Maybe, Governor, before you proceed, pertinent question.
Sorry.
On Annex 4, 5, and 16, where different entities. Before you proceed, I raised a pertinent question.
Sorry.
On Annex 4, 5, and 16, where different entities have supported that action of dumping garbage. Would you stand with that? Or because of the position that you have already taken, you apologize saying this is wrong, then this must be expunged from the records of this committee?
Chair, these statements are talking not about, no one can support the dumping. They're not in support of dumping. They're talking about the excesses of Kenya Power with respect to counties. That's the excerpt of Council of Governors statement. They highlight, number one, they say Kisumu District Hospital, 2014, power was disconnected. Dr. Ojwang protested, his pleas were ignored. Civil Registration Office, Kilifi, Mombasa General Hospital, Homa Bay, water tank inlet, intake 2023, where residents went without water for days. You know, denying people water as well is a public health concern. Migori County facilities. So these statements, I think, stand on their own. And they're by entities, especially the COG statement, it's by an entity that is recognized under law. Then the thing they say is that despite all of this, and they give an example of an individual. They say in 2024, a Professor Alfred Omenya raised concerns after receiving 2.1 million bill for a new power connection. So from there, they just say, despite all this, Kenya Power also owes. You know, the narrative out there is that governors don't want to pay for power, or we're the only ones who owe. But in my case, for instance, and I've demonstrated, and I'll give you the details of those other meters, they owe us more. That is our claim. More than thrice, more than double what we owe them. And in fact, from the 3.5 you've seen where they have signed both sides 1.5, I've introduced now the 700 million paid by NMS, 800 compared to 5 billion. Who should go after who? if you on a balance of that. So, Chair, please, I hope they will have clarity. Mheshimiwa Huku Kaunya, I think
and just try to be a bit fast so that the rest can also. We still have like a majority of members who are not.
Thank you. Mheshimiwa Kaluma, thank you so much for your very clear observation of what is happening and actually what the law talks about. It is something that must be investigated because I suspect when you talk about meters outside Nairobi, if you look at Annex 11, this is a document. The letterhead has the logo of Kenya Power and the logo of Nairobi County. It's a joint document. You know, it would be very easy for me when I got in to say, okay, pay that bill. I said, no, I'm a steward of taxpayers' money. You must verify. They looked at 6,734 meters. Out of the 6,734, they found 1,573 metering points without a meter. These are the areas they looked at. The active meters were 4,273. Meters with no readings were 789. And you can see the list. If you look at, and I will attach another appendix, we say that the county government was to supply contract forms for some of the metering points, but also the meters we found not being for Nairobi County. The next step would be, so how much had been paid into them previously? How much money had been paid? That needs to be refunded to Nairobi County. The only facilities that we can pay for power outside Nairobi are our facilities that we own. For instance, the water facilities I mentioned. But those are paid by Nairobi Water. So if it's Ndakaine Dam, if it is Kigoro, Ngevu water treatment in Gatundu, Nyandarua, Sasumwa, Kiambu, Ruiru Dam, and that is different. But this you find a butchery somewhere. Who owns that butchery? So you might find possibly somebody who has access within that system, putting in their entities. Mulipwe na Kanja stima yenu. Is that right for the people of Nairobi? No. And so we must get to the bottom of this, because that is also criminal. That is also a criminal activity. It is obtaining using false pretenses. It is forgery. It is completely wrong. So that meter verification exercise was done. You can see the signature. The first signature is Engineer Kioma. That is an engineer from the county government of Nairobi in the Public Works Department, Energy, and Engineer Hicks Waswa. Engineer Hicks Waswa is the regional director of Kenya Power for Nairobi. He's a Nairobi Kenya Power boss. And we said the accounts not in the Nairobi County government name be removed from our bill schedules. Chair, if I go to the next issue, he asked about what provoked the action. It was just the demand. We don't respond out of emotion. Yes, you might feel bad that you owe me much more, I owe you little, but you keep cutting it. But you don't retaliate in government. In government, you don't retaliate in that manner. And which is why, at the end of the submission, I wanted to correct the notion, even in the letter, that it was about electricity bills, it was about retaliation. That is wild, wild west. If government was to run like that, if I go to ask for my bill tomorrow from the IG, my officers will be shot. Or if I go and ask DOD owes us a lot of money. They owe us 120 water bill, 120 million. Department of Defense. The rates they owe us. The Supreme Court ruled the other day that Embakasi garrison belongs to the county. Can I kick out DOD? They'll bomb us. Government doesn't behave like that. We sit at the table. We say these are our claims. These are your claims. Where do we swap? Where do we, exchange? Because that's how we should operate. So that's why this is an isolated event. The issue of monopoly of KPLC, I don't want to speak against them, but to a great extent there's been abuse. I think all of you have cases, even of your constituents, who tell you that they ask you, your bill is this amount, pay fast. There's no negotiation. A new connection. How do you get a new connection when already you're being charged? So I know the issues, and I have a lot of respect, especially for the new MD. The new MD, Engineer Siror, is an amazing guy. He's a Christian. As a person. But sometimes you have officers. I'm here today discussing the action of somebody pressing a button in a truck, throwing garbage. I was possibly dealing with an issue of health somewhere else. I'm a governor. I have a CEC. I have ministries. I have chief officers. Today, Honorable, my friend from Kirinyaga, Gitari, is here on an issue of an officer who has done something wrong in Kirinyaga. But it's the IG who has to answer for it. The IG has not sanctioned that officer to go beat up people or do whatever he's doing with a metal bar. But that is what you call organizational responsibility vis-a-vis personal culpability. I was not driving that truck, but that is my officer. And so that is why we're taking the action. So we're in good stead with the commercial issues. We have Intergovernmental Relations Committee. They joined us in that meeting at OP. If we're not able to agree, the last resort will be to go commercial, because I cannot also just sweep under the carpet money or to Nairobi. Nairobians want services. You keep telling them, Sakaja, remove dimples from the road. Fill those potholes. How will I fill them? If people are not paying their fair share, how will I fill them? Everyone needs to pay their fair share, and especially government to government. I think finally, Mheshimiwa Rosa Buyu, that's the question you're asking. You know, I said it will not happen under my watch. It has not happened. What stops these things from happening is an emphatic statement from the top leadership of the institution. I'm sure all my staff are listening. They know that, and we've always told them, you know, when we came in, we said, our intention is to create a city of order, dignity, hope, and opportunity. When you get an institution that has existed for so long, and staff who have been there for so long, organizational change and culture change takes time. Today, I'm telling you, Nairobians will tell you that the running battles that used to be there between city council officers and hawkers have never happened in the last 2 years. Matatus have not struck once in the last 2.5 years. It used to be every 2 weeks. It used to be every year. The county government, Mheshimiwa Aduma will tell you, there was even a police post in the county assembly. Gunshots, people fighting with chairs. Have you heard any of that? No. Because we said for us to give people dignity, we start internally by changing how we operate, changing how we speak to each other. And so even it might falter once in a while, because you cannot control 20,000 people's behavior. You don't know where they've come from, what stress somebody might have, what happened at home, mental health issues. But you just keep affirming it as you move along that, please, this is not how we do. When I issued the statement last Thursday, I said, this is not how Nairobi does its thing. And that's the leadership from the top. That's why individuals must, answer for what they've done. The county secretary is saying, the interdiction being on the same date, I think that must be a coincidence. If you look at the letter of interdiction, it says, following preliminary investigations. You can't just interdict at a whim. Somebody must say, no, this is the person who told me to dump. Or somebody must say, this is this is what happened. And immediately the case happened, the director of investigations was tasked to get on it. By the time now it came back to the county secretary, was that 27th, the same day, that it was debated in Parliament. Remember, the previous day it was debated in the Committee of Energy, led by Honorable Kawaya. They actually had deliberated upon it. And of course, theirs is to protect their entity. I'm not imputing any motive, but the folly of a one-sided story, the folly of the one-sided story. I had a member of Parliament who is in ICT just focusing on the fiber cables. But when you bring us together, then everybody gets the full context. The county secretary's statements, that is the final question, Chair, saying that they will remove the garbage when KPLC pay us. I think that could have, I don't want to say it's taken out of context. What it meant was the trucks. The trucks would be removed once there's an engagement. Because the trucks are there on enforcement. The problem was the dumping, remember. But clamping down a building is perfectly within the law. Completely. There's a building just down here around Koinange that the county closed and got tenants to start paying us rent for almost a year to recover it. There is the property owned by the Koinange family as well, near Taifa Lane, where, having not had paid rates, we clamped it down. And we started getting revenue from them. That is what you passed here. And by the way, thank you so much. That law will help counties actually get the resources they need to serve the people. I'll leave it at that, Chair. Thank you. Sorry for taking time. I'll be short, briefer next time.
DIG or IG, I think there was some question directed to you. Let's try to be a bit fast so that we can accommodate the other members.
Honorable Chair, honorable members, maybe just before I go to the question that was asked by Honorable Kawinya, let me confirm that we collaborate a lot with the Nairobi County government, and in particular even Governor himself. We keep on collaborating because there are many issues that we have discussions between our side and even their side that we need to work together. So I'm just bringing it right that we normally collaborate a lot. Even now, he has already requested for attachment of 2 senior police officers so that he can be able to assist him in many areas that he thought that he can be able to assist, and it's under consideration actually as we speak here. So going straight to the question by Honorable Kawinya, that's the dates for the receipt of the report. As I confirmed in my earlier statement, that this was done on 24th actually by the people who complained straight to our police station in Parklands. But the dumping of the garbage, that one was done on 25th. And then on 26th, it was still there. And then on 27th, there were negotiations that were done, as has been confirmed by the governor, between the teams that were involved and the office of the head of the public service. So the dates remains 24th and 25th. Thank you, Chair.
There was a question directed to DCI, which I think it was actually responded, because I think the question was if the senior officers, to include the CEO, were among the one being investigated or arrested or who had undertaken right statement. Maybe you can just confirm, although the governor did.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I wish to confirm that the 2 persons under interdiction, that is James and Khalil Mpaka and John Ntoiti, we were able to record statements from them. But certainly, Honorable Chair, the fact that they have been interdicted by the county government will certainly not prejudice our investigations. We will do our investigations very, very professionally. Then, Honorable Chair, there was the issue of the time frame. What time do we intend to conclude the investigations? Already, like I said, Honorable Chair, we had already submitted 1 link of the file to the ODPP. And for the remainders, we hope that by the end of this week, we will have forwarded the file to the Director of Public Prosecutions. Then there was the issue of the KPLC and its monopoly, Honorable Chair. I may not be competent to comment on the monopoly enjoyed by KPLC. However, switching off of lights has a very, very serious security implication. And KPLC needs to really look into that before they switch off their lights, particularly when it comes to critical infrastructures, things that can affect our national security. We are, however, alive to the fact that KPLC, as an organization, has a responsibility to deliver on its mandate. And this cannot be realized if clients are not paying their money. So sometimes, last year, Honorable Chair, I remember KPLC switched off power from DCI headquarters with all our guns and with all our firearms. But what I did was to pick a call, and I had a lengthy discussion with the CEO, Engineer Siro. And we were able to address the matter very amicably in a more structured manner, and the power was finally restored to the organization. So
Do you owe them?
Sorry?
How much do you owe them?
We owed them about, by then it was 150 million. So then going forward, Honorable Chair, it is important that government agencies should be able to talk to one another with a view to solving the issues amicably. And I'm sure there are forums where these issues can be addressed. I submit, Honorable Chair.
Chair, in that spirit, you can help me with my small bill of 106 from them. I'll be grateful.
So, quickly, members, we are going to...
kindly give NEMA an opportunity to respond to my question. Thank you.
I'm giving. So before we take the last group, we are going to give the DG NEMA to respond to Bureau's question, in 2 minutes.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, as an environmental regulator, our mandate is general supervision and coordination of all matters in environment. And Chair, Nairobi City is the environmental capital of the world, with the UNEP being headquartered here, the only UN body in the global south. So the incident has really dented our image globally. So if you look at our constitution also, Chair.
Which year were they voted the best city? Is it the cleanest or the best city in the world?
Last year we were voted by,
Three, acquire a waste transport licensing from NEMA. And lastly, Chair, those trucks are supposed to be licensed by NEMA to transport waste. The trucks were not covered. They are not designated waste transport trucks.
I would suggest we leave that to the Environment Committee, because it's a question that we raise about the altogether. The private service providers that run around the city, they get a license from us, There are functions of counties being run by national agencies. That is unconstitutional. So maybe let's not get into that. About environmental responsibility, Chair.
Okay, I did. Be intertwined in many ways, and other things may be cross-cutting. Then we tend more committee. But I think it's more importantly is the issue that instruct the waste to be removed, the place being cleaned. But I will make a on what you need to do at the end of this on that. Maybe lastly, we are going to take the rest to the point, and we are going to start with Kangara, we are still many. Kangara, Wetan, Balo. So that we don't become so many to the extent that they may really lose track. You think that is okay? Everybody less than, yeah. We will take the last. Balosi, Wetan, and Liz Chelule. And please let's be to the point.
Two questions, but they are interrelated. What you're calling the Rating Act is that you can has not paid their rates or whatever you're demanding from them. And among other things, blocking the building, you know, with the trucks is what you're calling clamping in this particular instance. Is it a policy of the county government that the truck used to clamping must have some garbage? Because that's probably what actually, because the garbage was already within the trucks. Let me also say that you did mention about the internet providers who are using the in this particular instance, I would say that the cables are kind of an ISO. The wires hanging over even some entrances, and if you talk to Kenya Power to remove them, there are 5 to 10 cables. If one of them is hanging, you don't know who to go to ask them to be able to clear the entrance. The Rating Act allows them to clamp the rates or whatever they are owed. From the report that you have given us, you have indicated that after the report of that was done through the ODPP, and one of the charges is now the issue of the legal clamping